Hello and welcome to News Panorama from NTA Ibadan Network Center. As a member of the global community is experiencing economic recession, which invariably has affected every aspect of life of government and citizens, the economic problem is largely linked to the fall in prices of oil, high exchange rate of naira to major international currencies, and the nation's import-driven economy. Since the recession set in, various suggestions and recommendations have been advanced to quickly take the country out of the woods. Welcome to Panorama as we discuss the options available to Nigeria and our citizens in this precarious economic situation later on the program. I'm Daoju White. The federal government has formally received the 21 Chibok girls released in the early hours of Thursday. Vice President Yemi Osibanjo says the government will continue negotiations for the release of the remaining abducted girls still in custody.
The Vice President, while briefing the press, states that no swap was involved. He says only one of the 21 released girls has a baby and that adequate medical attention will be given to the girls.
The whole country, everyone is truly excited, and I believe that we should be very, very thankful to God, and to want to also thank the military and all of the security services, the DSS, the intelligence services all across the country, and for our friends and partners internationally who have also helped in bringing about this very, very happy conclusion, at least to the captivity of 21 of the Chibok girls. So, of course, there will be therapy, there will be counseling, a lot, both physically and mentally. Of course, you can imagine what they've gone through. So one expects that a lot of physical therapy, a lot of psychological therapy as well, and so much needs to be done to get them back to living a normal life after so much trauma in captivity.
President Muhammadu Buhari has arrived Berlin ahead of the crucial talks with the German Chancellor Angela Merkel, which begins today.
State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the president, who arrived at the military base of Tegel Airport, was received by a high-powered German government delegation. Also to welcome the Nigerian leader were the chargé d'affaires of Nigeria and Germany, governors of Borno and Imo states, members of the National Assembly, ministers of foreign affairs, trade and investment, agriculture and interior, the national security advisor, and other senior government officials. Apart from the high-level talks with Chancellor Angela Merkel and President Joachim Goak on issues of shared interest between Nigeria and Germany, President Muhammadu Buhari will also meet leading German companies at a business forum towards attracting more foreign investment and creating economic opportunities in the country. The senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Malam Garba Shehu, speaks on the expectations from the visit.
The German Chancellor Angela Merkel has shown an extraordinary eagerness to support President Muhammadu Buhari. I think of all the leaders of the world, European and all of that, I think she was the earliest to have identified what a Buhari presidency would have meant for Nigerians and for the world. You know that it was up to her as a president of the G7 at that time that the president was himself called to meet the G7 leaders in the first week of his inauguration. And so there is that eagerness on the part of the German leadership. We are expecting a lot from this. And I'm sure that the Germans are determined also to prove their commitment and support to the Buhari presidency.
The president is expected to interact with representatives of the Nigerian community in Germany on efforts by his administration to rebuild Nigeria for a better future.
Nigerians have been advised to participate in communal activities to engender growth from the grassroots. Organizers of a civil orientation project, City Changer Campaign, pointed this out at an awareness rally in Ibadan. Femi Afolabi reports.
Since the launch of the Change campaign by President Muhammadu Buhari, several organizations and non-governmental groups have keyed into the campaign to reorientate the people on adoption of right values both in their public and private lives. One of them is the Nigerian National Volunteer Service, leading a City Changer campaign to selected markets in Ibadan. Organizers say this year's campaign is to sensitize the public on the need for a clean environment to add values to the public health and the society.
Decide to bring this campaign here so that the other states within the zone will also key it in and then take it back to their states to sensitize their people. We should not wait for government to do everything for us. Go out and clean. Let our environment be clean. Put in order. We should not throw anyhow. Don't throw anyhow dirty. Don't put dirty anyhow.
Commissioner for Environment in Oyo State, Chief Isaac Ishola, says the campaign is needful.
And when you have a good habit by keeping your environment clean, everything around you, what we give the system, other people from other countries want to come to
the Nigerian National Volunteer Service is being coordinated from the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. In Ibadan, Femi Afolabi, NTA News.
Commuters plying the Ibadan-Ife Expressway have appealed to the federal government and relevant stakeholders to repair the damaged portions and ease traffic gridlock on the road. Correspondent Shola Wahid has the situation reports.
The deplorable condition of Alakia Adegbayi axis of the Ibadan-Ife Expressway has become great concern for commuters
case of Nigeria, we are having a special case of recession in Nigeria. Our own recession is peculiar. Why I said it's peculiar is that before we can be talking about alternative or how to address it, you must first of all know the root cause of the recession. In those countries that I've mentioned, particularly in developed countries like the UK or in America, it was the financial crisis that plunged them into recession. In other words, in terms of productive base of the economy, it is solid. The infrastructures are there. Their currency were not depreciating. They were not import dependent. All right, the economy was well diversified. Therefore, they just have one root cause. And addressing that single root cause is easy. Yeah. But in our own case in Nigeria now, our own recession is more or less a multidimensional. And that is why, if we are going to address it, it also requires a multidimensional approach. All right? Recession don't just occur one day. It's more or less a product or a result of a accumulation of our actions or inactions over time.
Okay. Now, you talked about a multidimensional approach to addressing the issue.
Yes.
And I'm sure one of the ways, to address the issue is by looking elsewhere, which is agriculture, which has been considered, as an alternative to oil and gas. Yet the impact is not going to be felt quickly in terms of food supply. So how would the populace survive?
Okay. You see, the impact can be felt in the very short run. It depends on the strategy. First and foremost, if we want to diversify to agriculture as a way out of recession, one key issue is very important. Within the agricultural sector itself, the issue of productivity is important. And when you look at productivity, not only productivity, first of all, you look at the contribution of agriculture to GDP. That is why government is saying, if we have to diversify at all, agri is the first sector because of its contribution to GDP, the fact that it can raise employment for income generation. It harbors the majority of the poor population in this country, and therefore, if we actually come out of this problem, we have to focus on agri. But the most important thing is that diversifying into agri does not just mean that we should go and start producing anything. We have to look into details. Which subsectors of agriculture is capable in the short term of making a multiplier or bringing a multiplier effect on the economy such that we can quickly come out of this recession. You see, the causes of recession are there. The consequences lasted more than the recession itself. We can come out of recession in the next 3 to 6 months, but the consequences can last for the next 10 years. And what is important now, which means the approaches we need is, first of all, coming out and dealing with the consequences.
Okay, how do we come out?
Now, first, you have mentioned agriculture, yes, and my argument is that, yes, agri is a focus. But within agri, first of all, I was trying to do an analysis not too long ago, looking at the contribution of the various subsectors of agriculture to GDP. Because we are having recession, because we are having declining GDP, and we are looking at sector that can, contribute and enhance GDP growth. That is what it means. So analyzing it from that perspective, we have about 4 critical major sectors: the crop production, livestock, forestry, and fisheries. These are 4 major subsectors of agriculture. And if you look at their contribution to GDP, the crop production sector have almost about 60% contribution to agri GDP, all right, followed by livestock, and then fishery, and then forestry. All right, which means if you are looking for a quick wins in the agriculture, in terms of diversification, we are talking of what can we do in the short term, at least to increase productivity. I will recommend that emphasis should be on crop production. But we should also go a step forward. Within the crop production itself, there are food crops, there are cash crops.
Okay.
And when we also...
Okay, you talked about crop production. Yes. Some school of thought or the view that we can actually produce enough to take care of our food needs in this country. But however, they're talking about a banning of importation of food, certain food items, at least temporarily, as an option to enhance food availability and accessibility. What's your reaction to this?
Well, that is an extremist, what I can call an extremist position. But in the light of competition, you don't really need to either ban any product before you can overcome the problem of importation. Well, you recall that I said earlier that our own recession is multidimensional. In fact, we are having economic recession because we have social recession, because we have political recession. And all these things are cumulative. The recession we are having is a cumulative effect of all these ones that I'm talking about. Other factors. For example, let me relate the social recession now to how it affects importation. All right. And what we can do in the light of that. Okay.
Quickly.
Let's take, for example, rice importation. We produce rice in this country. And as a matter of fact, the quality of rice we produce, in terms of nutritional value, the nutritional content, is far higher than the one we import. And people have been complaining about quality. And I'm telling you that in Nigeria today, we even have rice produced in this country that are of even better and higher quality than imported rice. You may say if you get to the market, you will not find them, but we are producing them. Okay. So if we change our social orientation in favor of consumption of locally produced goods, even when we import, it happened in China. It's also happening in India.
So we can get out of the woods quickly. Yes. Well, I think time is not on our side. Professor Ogundele, we want to thank you very much for sharing your thoughts on how to get out of the woods. Maybe when next we invite you on the program, you will avail us your words of experience.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, News Panorama continues shortly. The 2016 Health Initiative for Rural Dwellers by the National Youth Service Corps has taken off in Ogun State. Director General of NYSC, Brigadier General Suleiman Kazari, who flagged off the program, said the Corps members will project the policies of the federal government through its health programs. Hakim Jimo reports.
In their thousands, people came from across the length and breadth of Ogun East Senatorial District and its environs to be part of the program they considered important to their well-being. Speaking shortly before the flag-off ceremony, the governor of Ogun State, Ibekulu Amosu, who was represented by the State Commissioner for Youth and Sport Development, Afolabi Afuakpe, said that the federal and state governments would continue to promote genuine approaches towards improving the living standard of the people.
We are put in place necessary enabling environment to ensure the success of the program.
While commending the federal government for its various health programs, the governor added that the NYSC Health Initiative would help to drastically reduce infant mortality rate. On his part, the Director General, NYSC, Brigadier General Suleiman Kazari, represented by one of the directors of the agency, Mrs. Ruda Kwaki, assured that the agency will not relent on its efforts to mobilize young people for free healthcare delivery services to the people.
It is appropriate to inform you that as managers of the scheme, we are fully prepared to leverage on well-spread, abundant human resource at our disposal to improve the quality of life of our dear people.
The NYSC boss called for collaboration of stakeholders in the health sector to deliver quality healthcare services to Nigerians. A number of wheelchairs and mosquito nets were also donated to the people in Abeokuta. Hakim Jimo, NTA News.
The unity of Nigeria must be paramount and protected by leaders at all levels, irrespective of religious beliefs. Primate Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, Most Reverend Nicholas Okun, stated this at the inauguration of classrooms dedicated to former APC National Chairman Chibisi Akonde in Otan, Ayibaju, Osun State. Abolade Salami reports.
Emphasizing on the need for the country to remain united irrespective of religious beliefs, language, as well as political affiliation, Primate Church of Nigeria Most Reverend Nicholas Oko says disintegration causes more setback and promotes unnecessary violence among the people, communities, and ethnic stock, hence the need to embrace unity towards national development.
Chibisi Akonde was introduced here as a practicing Muslim. A Muslim, and he can build a school in a Christian diocese. It simply means there is hope for Nigeria.
Governor Ralph Arabashola, in his speech titled Faith and Education, Inseparable Symbiosis, said it was time all relevant stakeholders ensured the return of quality and moral standards to schools in order to improve the nation's educational sector.
Education by far has commanded our greatest engagement and resources. As I often let people know, we are preparing for the next 25 years. But that's the only way.
The former national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Chief Bisi Akonde, appealed to missionaries to run the schools side by side with other stakeholders in order to enable the country produce future players in the employment markets. Abdullah Salami, NTA News.
And that's News Panorama for today. Thanks for watching and bye for now.
The finals of the Men and Women African Cup of Nations. It's always frenetic. On days such as this, there are no tribes, no religion. Here, Nigerian warriors are out to represent, to show the skills that makes us the best. On days like this, the color is one. The color is green. When we get the job done, it is because we have stuck together. When we celebrate, we stand together. Nigerians, united in victory. We are Nigerians. We are one.
For over 25 years, I have been privileged to anchor various programs on television. But the news program that I find most exciting and challenging is The Weekend File. This is largely because of its philosophy of engaging all classes of people, the artisans, politicians, technocrats, captains of industry, and professional analysts on issues that touch all aspects of life and living. In the conversations that follow, you find complexities, different views, ideologies, thought patterns, and individual beliefs. It's quite engaging. We do this Saturdays on NTA Network Service at 9 p.m. It's Weekend File, but you call it Weekend Companion, and it's all about nation building. Join me, Kirian Umayo, and production crew every Saturday for this weekend treat, and I can tell you that it is unmissable. Make it a day.
Is a total package. A special treat to equip you for the week ahead.
Weekend Deal, 6:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. every Saturday and Sunday. It's all about you.
Weekend Deal. From its terrain, rocky, its mountains stretch undulating, well complemented